Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Monday, August 27th Board of Selectmen meeting. Call this meeting in order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so approval of agenda, we want to add, set the tax rate under new business.
Yes.
Item F. Anything else?
I can just speak real quick on, I'll just bring you guys up to speed on what's,
Planning board?
we can do that last, okay?
We'll do that under committee and board reports. Item B. Okay, and motion to approve as amended.
So we'll
Second. All those in favor? So the next item on the agenda is public forum. This is where we ask the public if they want to bring anything up that is not on the agenda. Anybody from the public have anything to say, comment, speak? No? All right. Let's move into the introduction and swearing in of our new resource officer.
Yes, if I may, Chief Sanford from the Kennebunkport Police Department's here tonight, Jason Hafner, and the principal, Hal Keenan, is here tonight as well. There'll be some introductions, but what we're doing this evening is really procedural. We have to fill out and sign an agreement, so Jason can come to our community and be our school resource officer here. And then after we agree to that, Emily can swear him in as a school resource officer. But the chief may have a few comments that he'd like to make, and I told him he has to keep it brief.
Good evening, folks. My name's Craig Sanford. Again, Chief of Police over in Kennebunkport. I haven't been here since I played Babe Ruth out back a long time ago. Jason is going to be the new school resource officer, supporting RSU 21. You know, it's an exciting opportunity. I know the Sheriff's Department wanted to participate and is unable to for all kinds of reasons. I have been in contact with the Sheriff and Chief Deputy, and we want to work as partners. Our main focus is going to be the school community here and its safety. Jason is going to be here most days, Monday through Friday during the school day, and we will support that if need be, but in most cases, Jason will ensure that the Sheriff's Department is on board and is servicing the community as you folks are paying for. I'm not here to take over in Arundel. I'm just here to support the community here in the school and any help that we can give when we're here, sir. So, again, Jason Hafner, if you've got any questions for us, I'd be more than happy to try to answer those for you.
A little bit of background.
Sure. My name is Jason Hafner. I've been a police officer with Kennebunkport for 10 years. I started as a summer officer in 2008, or 2007. I went to the University of Maine in Presque Isle to become a teacher, actually, and went all the way through to become a teacher. Fun fact, I only have one class. Like, I have to take one mathematics class and I get my teaching certificate, essentially. And then somehow I ended up becoming a police officer. It's exciting because I've always liked to teach. I teach at the police academy, different things. I've dealt with, I've taught at the academy with the younger kids who want to become police officers. I spent a week with them, so I like to teach. I like to do things like that. I'm just excited for the opportunity.
If I could just add just a thank you to the board for their support in this endeavor, and speaking on behalf of the students and the families that we serve and all of my staff that walk through the building. We're just thrilled that Jason's going to be here and joining us, and I'm particularly excited that we've gotten Jason, getting to know him this summer. He's going to be a tremendous fit for our community and for our school. And I know he's excited to get out on the playground and toss the football around with the kids and get into classrooms and read with kids and build relationships and be a fantastic mentor for the students in this building. So we're really excited to have him for the obvious reason of keeping everybody safe, but I think that the potential for him to really add more to what we are as a school, as a role model in his interactions with kids in a positive way, is really gonna be the true payoff of him being here, so we're really excited to have him.
Hope he doesn't get detention, cause he's a big kid himself.
Inside your packets, I did have a copy of the agreement for limited aid to law enforcement agencies that was developed. I hope you all had a chance to read it. I've read it a couple times. It seems pretty straightforward to me. It does require a vote and a signature by the board. And then if you approve that, which I hope you do, I would like to also get a vote to have the town clerk swear Jason in as our school resource officer. And there will be signatures on that before she's signed.
You need two separate, Keith?
I would, yes.
So I'll make a motion, we accept Jason Hafner as RSU 21
School resource officer.
School Resource Officer. Yep.
Second. Okay, any further discussion?
Is that the motion to approve the contract, is that what we're doing, just,
Yeah,
okay.
approve the contract.
The only question I have in the contract, responsibility for claims, I think we ought to investigate, insurance
Okay.
issues, because there's no cross indemnification provisions in here, and I don't wanna get in a circumstance where everybody's pointing fingers at everybody else, and without having to pay lawyers. I know I love my brothers and sisters at the bar, but, if we can avoid paying thousands of dollars to get that sorted out and have an insurance company do it, it might make some sense, so I think we should just look at that
Okay.
issue, okay?
Is that something that we need to amend a motion at all, Tom?
No,
or-
no, I just make that as
Okay.
a recommendation,
Yeah,
that's all.
okay, all right. Any other discussion? No more discussion, all those in favor? Motion carries.
Great.
And then, we're looking for another motion
Yeah.
to,
To swear in.
Go ahead and swear him in as school resource officer here at the school.
So moved.
we have a motion and a second, any other discussion? All those in favor?
I have two of them, so we have original for them and original for us, so we gotta sign those.
Won't get injured for us in that football round.
If you want, on the other end, if you give all the contracts and swearing in documents to Emily, she can give the contract to Chief Sanford, have them sign it, and then we'll both get copies of that. And then we can pay Jason out back and swear him in.
Not heard.
So we can move things along.
So both of these, Emily?
Yeah, everything's Emily.
Yeah.
Move those in the contract.
Jason, welcome aboard.
Thanks, Jason. Hey, thank you very much.
Thank
Nice to
you,
have you.
thank you, folks.
Thank you very much.
You'll see us here in the
Thank
school,
you.
so thank you.
Good.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, good to see you.
All right, next item on the agenda is the approval of the August 13th minutes.
Look all right?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second, any other discussion? All those in favor? Committee and board reports,
Yeah, I
actually,
did,
do you have an RSU?
I don't.
Yeah, we should.
I was hoping Velma was here so she could
Okay.
share, but.
So we'll get that next. Jason, you wanna update a little bit on the planning board?
I will, I was there till about 9:30, that's all I could do that night, the kids were home, so, just to bring you guys up to speed on pave tech. I don't know why the planning board does it, but they put like 8 items on the agenda that night with 2 public hearings, and to me, just seemed like it was overwhelming to begin with. First and foremost, I think pave tech's gonna get ugly. and I think it's gonna be that way from both sides. There was a lot of heat from the residents of Machipke Lane that are essentially expansion on his, construction yard two, I think is what it is.
Yep.
And, there's a lot of restraint from, I think it's half Machipke, the further into Machipke, there were a couple residents that were there that were very honest and upfront in saying they'd never even met Pave Tech or Mr. Stilfen. So they really didn't have a way either side. One of them really made the point to the board of, look, it's your responsibility as a planning board to accept this. If it's zoned for that and the guy is within his right to do it, then why wouldn't you accept it? I mean, that was pretty much his only point that he made that night. Whereas a majority of Machipke brought their own counsel, and their attorneys took an hour and 45 minutes basically to make the presentation of not to accept Pave Tech's expansion. And what I really wanna speak on is, we went into a consent agreement with Mr. Stilpen, like in July, almost a year ago maybe, August last year maybe? It didn't seem that long ago, but I guess they brought up the point that it was like a year ago. And they're making the argument that he is in violation of that consent agreement. So
That's
they're,
what I'm understanding.
I think it's gonna come in front of this board before it goes much further with the planning board, because both representatives of,
No, it was them in the, home.
both the representatives that were representing the Machipke residents against it, both touched on that fact that he is in violation of our consent agreement, and that it shouldn't go any further until that consent agreement is either eliminated, or he goes back into, what he said he was gonna do. And Rich, the chair there, basically called and that was just a public hearing, and that went until 8:45. And then on the Stilfen side, they were very upset at the fact that none of them really got a chance to speak that night at the public hearing. It was all essentially one-sided. So there were a lot of allegations brought up against Stilfen, and he never really had a chance to, in my mind, he never really had a chance to defend himself at that public hearing. It was all just.
Yeah, as I understand, they postponed.
They did.
They're gonna extend the public hearing to the next meeting and allow his folks to have some say in the discussion.
So again, they called it at about 8:45, 9:00, and there were several other items on the agenda. They hadn't even got into the listed agenda, and there were 7 or 8 listed on the agenda. And we had to leave at 9:30, because like I said, the kids were home. But just to bring you guys up to speed, I don't think there were any other issues that night. Did you stay for the whole meeting, Phil? or-
I stayed the whole way and they finished pretty much their agenda.
So that must have gone quite a while.
It went quick after Stilfen, item got done with, the rest of it went pretty quick.
So again, I think that's gonna come back in front of us before it goes much further with the plan.
So in reference to that he's not to our consent agreement, obviously we're gonna have to check that out, right?
Well, yeah, the point you have here is that people may be expressing that opinion at a meeting. Whether that opinion is truthful or not, we have to send the code officer
Right.
down to take a look and see if there's a violation that exists. If it does, obviously you give them time to correct the violation. And,
I remember the last time we sent them there, there were residents that thought that he wasn't, and our code
Correct.
enforcement officer said he meets everything that's.
Right, the issue that I hear now is that he has, he has 3 trailers instead of 2. That is by consent, because we recognize one of the storage trailers as 1 trailer on the lot. So, people are saying that he's pulling out of there every day with 2 trailers on his trucks as opposed to just the 1. So, that's what we heard.
anything else you wanna add, Phil?
No.
Okay. Very good. Next item is, move some funds over.
Yes, you know, normally I would, my initial opinion was that I would had to wait until I had a full board. Because of what was happening with, Velma, I thought maybe I should ask the attorney about an opinion as to what she felt that warrant article actually said. And to my surprise, it's different than mine, in that, she feels that the opinion says that a majority of the full board, and so she interprets it as the full board, a majority vote of the full board would be 3 voting members, would make a majority of a full board of selectmen. So, in her view,
Not a unanimous.
it doesn't have to have the full board here to discuss it, that it would only require 3 of you to vote in the affirmative of the transfer of funds. So, with that being said, in her rendering that opinion to me, I think that, I would like to, go ahead and move those funds as I had expressed, previously in your business, is that, as you know, our general government account was, in the negative by at the end of the year by $11,229.28. And primarily that was a result of being over on our legal line by the excess of about $60,000 at the end of the unaudited financials. So once we look at the rest of the modifications within that budget, we're still over by 11,229. My thought process was to make a motion to transfer $11,500 from the town hall administration line, which has $13,857 at the end of the year, in order to provide enough, have positive balance within the general government account. Now, by warrant article, you have the authority to move those funds up to 5%. 5% of the overall budget would have been $137,000 worth of flexibility to move, but in this case, we're only requesting the $11,500 to move from the town hall administration account to the general government fund account.
Discussion by the board.
Well, we approved the reallocation of funds from the, what do you want, general?
It's gonna come from the town hall
Town
administration
administration
account
The town
to the general government account.
Just like that.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Thank you.
Okay, on to new business. The discussion, status of the roads, Limerick Mountain Road Public Works.
Yes, we have Rogers here with us tonight, to talk about Limerick Road, and a little bit about Mountain Road, and you can fill you in with the details. I think I've put some information in your packet, so you have a little bit of understanding, particularly on the Mountain Road section, but we'll start with Limerick Road.
Yeah,
Rog?
we talked about the Leonard Road first. Noam Heavy's here at my request. He had a request to me a while back about doing something different with the intersection of Brimstone and Limerick Road. We're talking about removing the weight limits on that road, and what I would like to have seen is that opened up so that trucks and whatever else, trucks, motorcycles, whatever, don't have to come up, stop, take off again. He's experiencing some noise there. I looked at it originally and thought possibly we could do it with some signage, and Noam wisely talked me out of it. Because if something bad happens there, and we get, I mean, there is virtually no accident histories there now. But with extra truck traffic over that, the way the signage is now, you're not gonna do anything without teeing Brimstone Road off onto Limerick Road, which would include moving a pole. Before CMP will even talk to you, you've gotta have some kind of engineered plan to do this. So that was one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about. The approval to tentatively move forward with whether we have an engineer on, that we're using right now. We were using,
Right, Pierce?
No, there was
No,
we
that
have
was
right
for
here for
the
the sewer
septic.
Yeah.
sewer project. But we were using somebody locally for road development, I can't remember who it was now.
Well, normally anytime the planning board has an issue come up or whatever, you ship it to them. I don't even remember who they were. I'd have to talk to Tad and see, but obviously, this is not an easy fix. I think it's relatively inexpensive over the course of the whole deal, but before I would hang my hat up on that and try to open Limerick Road up completely, I think we need to do this, just to tee that road off. Sight distance is terrible. If you're coming down Brimstone Road or either Limerick Road, you cannot see who's coming down the other way. Again, there's no great history there, but if we do something, I wanna make sure we do it the right way and tee this thing off.
So your thought process would be, instead of it coming in, you turn and tee into the road, or?
You would tee Brimstone Road into Limerick Road. The existing pole that's in that triangle would have to be moved back,
On the side of the road,
probably about where the edge of the curb is somewhere.
yeah.
But in order to do this and do it right, not everybody stops there, by the way. Why there hasn't been any history, I don't know. Cause I'm sure no one could attest to the numerous times, but
In the old days, the Brimstone Road carried the majority of the traffic. Because it was the North Chapel Road, people didn't use it very much. But now that the Limerick Road has been extended to the North Chapel Road, it's wider. Like he said, it's gonna carry more trucks now with the weight limit's gone. You've got traffic coming one way, we'll say from 111, they have to stop. Traffic coming the other way doesn't have to stop. Are they gonna come straight, or are they gonna go down Brimstone Road towards Du Bois? That's a crapshoot, we never know. But if this guy takes off, and somebody decides, no, I've got the right of way, I'm gonna go, now we've got something serious. The traffic has just increased so much over the years, that, you know, it's an issue. And, I hear break-in there all the time. I mean, it's like Roger said, it's a wonder nobody's ever got killed. But, and the right way to do it, like he said, would be, the Brimstone Road doesn't carry much traffic anymore. It does, but certainly not
Not
to
like
the
Limerick.
percentage that the other one does. And, I took a picture this afternoon of, in 20 feet of that intersection, there's 5 stop signs, pointing in different directions. I mean, it's a circus. So, if you were coming in from, we'll say from Du Bois down the Brimstone Road, and you make a 90-degree stop, you gotta turn either right or left to go down the Limerick Road. To me, that'd be the safest way to do it. And if you're coming from Mildred Day and you wanna go down the Brimstone Road, you'd have a turning lane. Turn left.
part of the reason for all those stop signs is the way it was before. People could drive from Brimstone or Limerick and turn that corner onto the other road, and there was nothing there to tell them, no stop lines, no stop signs, nothing. So, that adds to the confusion a little bit. Either way, if somebody wanted to come from Route 111 on the Limerick Road and turn right onto Brimstone Road, they wouldn't go to that intersection and turn around the stop sign and make, I don't know what the angle of that is, but it's crazy, you can't make it. So anyway, I'm not proposing that we not remove the weight limit. I think you guys can vote on that tonight regardless, but they're still gonna have to come to that intersection and stop either way right now until we can get this intersection redesigned and redone. So what I'm looking for is basically a couple of motions. One is to proceed, hire, or talk to whoever we're using for engineering right now. Come up with a plan, proceed with CMP, have them look at it, see where that's gonna go, then we can get a better idea what the cost is, some estimates from the engineering firm. And obviously have to come back to you before we do that. So that's one thing we're looking for, and the other was obviously to remove the weight limit on the Limerick Road. That road is built out, it had concrete added to it, it's got the right amount of pavement now, the drainage is good. That'll take some pressure off the new road. Trying to get out of the new road with a truck is, you have to experience it. You can, people can tell you about it, but it's a circus. You really can't get out of there. It's uphill, low beds, get hung up on it occasionally. So this would alleviate some of the pressure on the new road. I think a lot of these roads, that's what we've done, try to spread the truck traffic out some, or all of them, as much as we could, so that they don't have a certain route they have to travel, and obviously that road, the new road, would get less abuse and less damage because of it.
If I could just add too, that Limerick Road, the traffic has increased on that road tremendously over the last 5, 6 years. Everybody, you take from 5 o'clock in the morning, I can hear them, from 5 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock in the morning, I mean, that's steady. And the same thing at night. So, you know, in the old days, you didn't have much traffic, but we do now.
Roger, the rearranging of that road, is that something that you would be looking at to put into next year's budget?
Yes. But what we've gotta have first is a plan, so that we can talk to CMP as well. We've had hearsay conversations about it would cost 10 grand just to move the pole. We don't know that. I think they could move that pole back to where it needs to be without a lot of work, without a lot of realignment. I don't see that as a big issue, but they won't even talk to you unless you've got some kind of plan showing what you want to do.
Okay.
I'll make a motion. Can you, get your hands on who we typically use for engineering firm?
Yeah,
Maybe reach out to them and see.
we'll put them in connection with Roger and start the process of looking at the
I
road.
believe it was Barry Shefton, but I don't remember the name of the outfit.
Barry works for, Woodward and Curran.
Okay. And we use Wright Pierce for the sewer.
Sewer work, we're using right.
So we have a motion, on investigating, hiring an engineering firm to realign Limerick Road and Brimstone Road, do I hear a second?
Not hiring, just getting numbered.
Yeah, right.
Construction estimates.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Okay, weight limits?
You wanna eliminate weight limits on
On the Limerick Road,
Limerick Road, that's my motion.
Second.
posted 15 tons right now, and it's not necessary anymore.
So we have a motion and a second to remove the weight limits on Limerick Road. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Let's see, Mountain Road, wanna talk about that one, huh?
Town Road's a different issue. A few years ago, that was posted at 15 tons. It gets virtually no truck traffic other than what we generate. Pine Tree comes, picks up dumpsters and stuff, so they come in and out. But it's not a shortcut really for anybody. We didn't think it was an issue, and you guys voted to take the weight limit off that road last year, I believe. Now we've got a different issue that's come up. Somebody wants to put truck traffic on it, coming out of the backside of the cottages through Hidden Meadows on the mountain road. That road really was not built for heavy truck traffic. It's on a corner. There's a lot of issues there. If you posted it and they still wanted to come to you to use the road, at that point they could post a bond. Right now, they're not gonna post a bond and let everybody travel over it. So I think at this point in time, it probably makes sense to put the posting back, which was 15 tons as well, back on the mountain road.
Yeah, they're looking to, as Roger described, they're looking to try to accommodate their construction, vehicles up Hidden Meadows. They worked out an agreement with the Hidden Meadows folks to pave their road. We've looked at the bridge is, substantial enough to handle the traffic that goes there. The only thing is that, the retaining wall seems to be in tough shape, that's gonna need addressed. and then finally was the road. And we discussed it in a meeting, and, I think that, what Roger's suggestion is probably the best way to handle it at this point, because they would be putting 8 months out of the year, an exorbitant amount of truck traffic through there. We haven't got the detail of how many it would be, but, you know, they still got several phases, and as I understand, they wanna come back and ask the planning board for an additional phase to their project. Right now, I think they've got 43 units that are done out of 240 units they're permitted for. So that means they've got quite a bit of activity that they're gonna have there. And, as I understand, it would be a matter of convenience. They have people that have bought property in there that are having difficulty having the roads, the trucks going by their neighborhoods as they're drilling, so they're looking for an alternative to this.
I know based on the info that you provided us, Joe was pretty much against posting a bond, if I read that correct?
He was,
Yeah.
yeah, because because the posting had been removed, and we talked about posting a bond, and
Yeah.
his reaction to that was, I don't have to because it's not posted. So, I didn't think he had any intent to assist us in any way if there was some damage to that road. And as Roger expressed on several occasions, the road width is pretty narrow, and when you have two trucks that meet on that road, one's gonna have to get off the road onto the shoulder, and we know what's gonna happen then. So that's our issue.
Yeah, I definitely think we need to protect ourselves or cover ourselves in case there's some damage there.
The other side of this coin is, there's people in the cottages that obviously don't wanna see a truck. No one ever wants to see a truck unless
Not
it's
in my
raining.
backyard.
I've said that 100 times, and it's true. But, they don't wanna see the trucks. What about the people in Mountain?
And the Hidden Meadow folks are okay with that?
They're gonna fix their road and
Yeah.
pave it.
Yeah, they're gonna get it all redone.
I mean, at some point, if you post a road and he wants to post a bond, it will be your decision whether you let him travel that road or not. But there's some issues the way it is right now.
When he gets out to the end of Mountain Road, is he going down the hill and back on Campground Road?
It wouldn't make a lot of sense, so I'm thinking they're gonna be trucking out
Yeah.
towards the benefit side only. He's gonna have trucks coming in and out of there. We asked him that, he couldn't provide us any details.
Right, we still
I
don't have
talked to
those
him about
details, Phil.
None of
We've
his
asked for 'em.
trucks,
We've asked for them, but our conversation may end if if you folks approve posting the road again, and then that may just end this conversation, I'm not sure.
They're still dumping in that pit area.
They are,
They're gonna wanna go down, they'll be traveling the entire length of Mountain Road. Versus now, they're only traveling maybe a third of it at best.
Where they dumping now, Phil?
They're filling in the Kaczynski pit area.
so I guess what we're asking to do here is to try to give us a little more leverage on the use of the public road and repost the road as it was in, previously, to 15 tons.
Okay, what's the board's pleasure?
I'll make that a motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to repost the road at 15 ton. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. All right, next item is Arundel Street vendor ordinance.
Yeah, this is probably a very good conversation, you know, obviously we had Craig and Dawn's lunch here, a couple weeks ago, that per ordinance, we can only provide up to 7:00 PM closing time for any activity that he would do there. That conversely, Bentley and I had a conversation in my office as to what we can do with the ordinance. I mean, it seems, you know, and rightfully so, I think I agree to a certain extent that the ordinance may be prohibitive in terms of the length of time that somebody can, have these activities going there. So what I did in your packet, not only did I provide you a copy of the Lorenzo Street vendor ordinance as it exists, but if you recall, the planning board was working on some sort of performance standards that they were going to institute into the land use ordinance to try to sunset the 96 ordinance and incorporate it within the land use ordinance. So I provided you a copy of that standard they were working on. From what I understand, talking to the planner, they were working on it for a while, and then all of a sudden it just, for whatever reason, other activities came up and it stopped. So nothing was done with the ordinance, with enacting of this standard or moving it forward through review by them. So we sort of have a dilemma. I don't know where you folks want to go in terms of getting back to the planning board, instructing them to finish up their work on the standards, or do we want to continue to work with our existing ordinance that we have and maybe fine tuning that in order to accommodate larger hours that vendors can operate. So that's why I gave you both, and I didn't know where we got. I told Bentley we'd be here tonight discussing it, so I wanted him to be here as well. So if he has any comments or suggestions or thoughts that we can do. But that's where we are at this point.
Well, I think closing the food truck down at 7 o'clock in the evening, that's when the bulk of his business is ready to start coming in. I think it's gotta be at least 10 o'clock. And it sounds like, the planning board is willing to make some changes, they just haven't found time to work on it. Seeing as the planning board seems to be receptive to changing it, maybe to 10, could we do a consent agreement while they're working on it, and try to get it moved to 10 o'clock?
I don't believe so, Phil.
Okay.
I think what we could do, is that you could use the existing ordinance and request a modification of the ordinance and coordinate a special town meeting and get a vote of the people to change the existing ordinance, instruct the planning board to continue working on their standards. I don't know what happened.
I don't think this is a conditional use issue.
I
I don't
read
think
that
it's a
too.
land use issue. This is,
Yeah,
I mean, you're not gonna be something that's gonna be done all the time, and that'd be done every year, for all you know. So you don't want a conditional use, but I think there should be a standalone ordinance, and I think we ought to look at it. I mean, I read it, and it's really not very well done. It's as simple as that. I mean, it really needs to be significantly improved, and I think we ought to work on blending some of what the planning board is doing with some of what we have here. Not only the hours, but some of the definitions don't make any sense. That's against what you're doing. So I think we ought to,
I would totally agree with that, because like we said in the last meeting, I don't believe we're a street vendor.
no,
We're on private property, we're not mobile. You know, we're gonna be,
well,
And that's
yeah, but
all.
you can understand, we wanna be able to regulate even that. Even though you're on private property, you are inviting the public on that property, and that's gonna have
no, I
safety
understand that, I'm
considerations and
just
all
saying,
those types of things to come into play.
the street vendor permit is almost, it doesn't even apply, you know what I mean, to
Yeah.
our situation.
Mhm.
That's where I'm
See,
going.
I thought when I was down, I was telling Keith I was at a meeting a year ago and somebody wanted to get a permit right across the street. He was limited to 7 o'clock, and gee whiz, that's not gonna do him any good, cause, you know, he can incorporate or get my traffic leaving the saloon and they wanna stop there and get something to eat before they go home, which is a good thing for somebody drinking a couple of beers to have some food. 'Cause every time we have a meeting, with the state police or the, you know, the people that teach us how to regulate alcohol and all that stuff, they say the best thing is get food in their mouths to make them, you know, revive them, and we try to, you know, watch what we give them for alcohol and all that stuff. It's difficult to do when you get that many people. But the reason I got him down, I thought we could have that till we closed, when we have a food vendor, food license. I didn't consider him being out in the street, I thought it was, and I told Keith, and Keith said, no, it is, so we wanna obey the law properly and all that stuff. But it needs to be a longer, even longer than Phil said for us, it needs to be closing times, that's when the people are really gonna, that's when we wanna get them out as early as we can. And it sounds stupid for somebody trying to sell food and booze in the place, but it just, we want them to leave soberly and properly and all that stuff. And when they eat, it gets them out of the saloon for a little bit, and it's so much better for them. It's, I'm not trying to put burden on the town to say, oh yeah, I wanna get this, but I'm just doing it because I'd like to see it done. And I saw his, problem up in Westbrook, I said, gee whiz, this would be perfect, get him down here, and it'll take the burden off our kitchen, because we'll get like 150 people come in and, we got 5 cooks, but we can't take care of 150 people. We got him, he's got the quicker food service, and he can accommodate them, get them something to eat when they come in on their motorcycles or cars, or walking to hear a band, and or getting ready to leave at night, so it's just, that's what I was hoping we could get.
Bentley, from your perspective, you look into be open till 1 o'clock at night?
We I think, I don't know exactly, I know we've cut back, we used to be open till 1, and I think we cut back, I think we have last call at 12, I think. I'm not gonna guarantee you that, but I think it's 12, because I can't stay up that late anymore. But I think it's 12 o'clock, and I think 12:30 we try to get everybody out, and we do close at 1. So, and I know from, I think 11 o'clock on, we don't serve any double drinks, or we've tried to put some good standards in there to keep people from leaving bad, and if they look bad, we throw them in the bus, and if they don't want to, or tell them, well, which way are you going? I'm going north, okay, I'm gonna call the sheriff, and tell him you're going up there, that's your license plate, but let them stop if you don't want us to ride you home. Because we can't control it, when people come in drinking before they get there, and we don't know what they had or what they're doing, so.
10 o'clock, a reasonable hour for you, or would you be looking for more than that?
I'd like to go with more than that, because exactly what you just said,
Yeah, I mean, the majority of your hours is gonna be probably after 10.
Absolutely.
I look at it like a rapid race.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People are there, and they wanna stop in, they get something to eat before they go home.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would
I mean,
certainly
we
say that.
certainly have to do some good deliberation on that, and the other thing that I wanna make sure is, we have a very well advertised public hearing on this because of the issue of what was brought up last time about local businesses saying, hey, you're taking away from ours. Now, granted, there's probably not a whole lot of businesses, but we gotta give them
They're
the
open that
opportunity.
time, yeah.
In Westbrook, for instance, we've had great accolades from the police department on, we're across the street from Fennel's Restaurant, which is a popular bar on Main Street in Westbrook, and we have a lot of traffic walk over, and, they're gonna hang out for 10-15 minutes. That helps sober them up a little bit, get something into them, like you were saying, get some food intake, and police department loves it.
We had, I can't remember the name of it, but we had a sausage hot dog couple for years up there when we first opened. And, they stayed till closing, actually after we closed. And they had lines of people coming out of the saloon, getting the hot dogs, getting the sausage sandwiches with peppers and onions and all that stuff, and flipping them down and then getting in the motorcycle in the car and going home. Maybe sat around for 5 minutes, talked about the food, and while they were waiting and while they were eating, and they took off. And that I thought it was very good. We had them for quite a few years. It was legal back then. I don't know what got changed, or maybe nobody even noticed what we were doing, but they were right at the front door. And they had, we had lights and all that stuff.
Quite frankly, Bentley, I didn't know this existed until last year when somebody said, yeah, we have a 1996 ordinance. So we started looking at it, and sure enough.
That's when that guy came in.
Yeah,
across
so
the street.
this is really growing pains for us fellas. I know it doesn't solve your problems immediately, but at least, we understand where you're from, and I think the board is receptive to try to work with something to get this right, so,
Well, let me see if we can collar some ordinances, there's gotta be other ones out there.
Yeah.
Westbrook or others may have, maybe we can, take a look at what's out there and see if we can come up with something that makes some sense for everybody.
Just a quick question, how far away are you planning on putting the truck from his restaurant?
50 feet, 75 feet from the door.
Because like the planning board had talked about 100 feet from an existing, that's part of what they had put out there, and I didn't think that that gave them enough, so we wanna keep that in mind once we look at that, but.
And the
We
wells
had the
ordinance-
other one right at the stairs, when we had her and her
Oh,
husband
okay.
there. They were right at the stairs, we gave them extension cord, they had lights, they had their steamer, they were self-contained, they had the hot water and all the stuff they needed to keep it sanitary, they had a health department, permit, which.
I think the ordinance is trying to address is not, you know, a compatible relationship here, but you competing with the restaurant across the street. That's what the 100 feet would be
Okay.
about.
Right.
But maybe that's too much, is Dan's fine, but,
Right, but, I mean, the way their ordinance was written, even though we were talking about
Right.
other restaurants, it still violates.
Right.
Right. But, you know, my other concern, and I mentioned this, is that when this came up the last time, there were comments from some local businesses, and I'm not sure who, but they complained about, hey, you know, they weren't happy with it. So we just wanna make sure that we get everybody,
I remember
everybody
hearing that,
involved, and,
correct, I
you know.
remember hearing that. Understandable too, but I mean, this is at 12:30 at night, or 12 at night, there's nobody else even open in Arundel or Kennebunkport, you know what I mean? Everybody's closed, and this is the ideal time. That's why I got him down, I said, you can make some good money when we're getting in our closing
Well,
hours.
if you open at 6,
Yeah, but we're, you know, his
you may
volume's
do a lot of
gonna come at
business
9
after
to
10,
midnight,
but, you know,
or
but
12:30 or 1.
somebody else may say, hey, you're cutting into my business from 6 to 10.
Right.
That's what we heard,
Right.
Dan was suggesting.
If you're gonna look at different ordinances, wells might be a good one to look at.
All right.
Yeah, they had that.
Over at Congdon's, they got a number of food trucks in the parking lot. I've driven by there 2 or 3 times at night, and they got 2 parking lots, and they're both pretty damn
Which is fat.
full.
I don't know what their hours are.
They're doing a big business
Yeah.
over there.
Maybe we should look at their ordinance too, it would be helpful.
Brilliantly drafted, I'll tell you that.
Oh, you drafted it? Oh, okay.
Oh, it must be wonderful then.
I'm kidding. Ben from my office, we worked on that together.
Oh, okay, great.
At least there's a point of departure.
So we can let the planning board know that, you know, we really don't
I
want
didn't
that.
think so either, when I read that, I said, you know, that's not where we want to put this. No, the planning board.
They may come back and say, oh, we're gonna do this again, you know. But to Tom's point, it's not a land use thing.
We can't get anything now to
No,
just
you won't be
suffice
able-
the
no,
balance of the year.
No, we can't.
I was just hoping, you
Yeah,
know, brought him down here and, you know, he sold $20 worth of hot dogs one day just to try it and see if the electric
Yeah.
worked and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and then we shut him down when we found it. I thought we were illegal to do
yeah,
it.
I know you were. I appreciate you coming in and,
Yeah.
but, you know, it's almost like growing pains, unfortunately, it's gonna hurt Don's business until we get this thing straightened out. And get it done right, so then he can be there and do what he needs to do.
Well, you know what
Cause I think your idea is a great idea,
Yeah,
what you would say.
I don't know if it'll fit into every business in town
Right,
and not hurt businesses, we don't wanna hurt anybody's business.
Yeah.
We wanna help everybody, and that, you know,
yeah.
I don't know, I mean, at night, I think it's gonna help everybody's business, but in the daytime, but we don't need them in the daytime. I mean, I'd like them to start at probably noontime, 11:30 on Saturday and Sunday when we get our volume,
Yeah,
because that's gonna take the curse off our kitchens being able to help, you know, the patrons get food.
yeah, right now, he could actually set up and work until 7.
Right.
So, you know, I mean,
I
if
mean,
you.
the opportunity is there for Saturdays
Yeah.
to do just as you
That
just
doesn't-
explained.
That doesn't, I don't, and that's why I told him, you don't have to stay, because that's not gonna give you the revenue.
Right,
You know, he said, well, am I obligated to stay? I said, no, you know, if you can't make any money, I don't want you to,
right,
I don't wanna cost you money staying open for 5 hours or 6 hours. It's
I
not,
get it.
You know, I want them to make money.
You're ahead of us, guys. We need to address the ordinance.
And this will, because we're changing the ordinance, this will need a public
Yes, it will.
and a special town meeting.
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, so-
Well, we're changing a variety of ordinances, so we can work on this and get it packaged together and,
Yeah,
With
hopefully
the
we
street
get it back
ordinance.
together and get it done.
Yeah, I mean, we'll work this, you know, we'll get Keith to go look at some different ordinances and, you know, we'll work this try to work this as soon as we can and get going on it. And, you know, it's not gonna happen like overnight, so.
But I'll keep you in the loop,
Okay.
I'll let you know what's going on, so. You'll know what's happening,
Appreciate it.
okay,
Thank you very much.
thanks guys.
We can leave.
You can, or you can stay.
See you later, bye, thank you.
You get his truck set up, you can grab a hot dog.
Thanks, gentlemen, have a good night.
Alright, so we have a street vendor application.
Yes, I do.
Speaking of,
This one is for, it's gonna be at Vinegar Hill, it's the Chamber's annual event. The only issue I had when I reviewed the application was that I didn't have the specific times of operation, cause I was fearful again that we were gonna have a dinner event that was gonna go beyond 7, but the Chamber Executive Director contacted me and said the awards event and dinner is from 6 to 7.
Yeah.
So, everything else seemed to be in order to me. I've also got the managing director, Sarah Deering from Vinegar Hill, that's provided me the okay. I think everything else is in order, and my recommendation would be to approve this vendor application.
Ches JJ.
I'd move to approve.
A motion, will hear a second. Motion and a second, any other discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. None.
I don't think I need your signatures, I just needed your okay. Double check.
That's what we signed that before.
Yeah, I just need your okay.
Alright, so you wanna have a discussion on calculating earned vacation?
Yeah.
What do you got?
This debate came up, that's why I gave you all to it, the earned vacation, policy within the personnel policy. I wanted to really bring it forward to you before I really had a written grievance as to how to interpret it. But essentially, the way it's written now, and I provided it to you in your packet, you have a copy of the general vacation leave schedule. And if you look at the equivalent years worked, it says 0 plus / -5. And then it says 10 days, and then it earn your vacation at a certain rate per day that you earn it. And when I first looked at it, my thought was, you could begin earning at year 5 qualifications prior to reaching the year 5, because you're going from year 4 to year 5, and so you would be accumulating at a different rate. Some of the folks in the office say no. The way that we've interpreted it before was that you continue to year 4, you didn't begin to earn year 5 until year 5 began, and then you move forward. Well, as I looked at other ordinances, it became clear to me that some of them were a little clearer as to what they really wanted to have happen here. And some of them said, first year, it said year 1, after year 1, 10 days. After year 5, 15 days. So they really cleared it up as to how you were going to accumulate it. In those cases, it seemed to me that once you got to your year 5 status, you automatically got your extra 5 days. So, but I'm not how the board interpreted, or whether you ever had to interpret this, or what your thoughts are when you read it, and that's why I gave you page 12 and page 11 of the policy to look at, as to how to read it. I could look at it virtually both ways and argue the point, but I'm not sure how the town has argued it, and whether it's ever come before you before. As I understand, a number of years ago, we had 2 employees that were coming up on their year 12 vacation time, and as a result of that, they asked for interpretation. At that time, the interpretation was you don't earn year 12 until year 12 gets there, and then you begin to earn equivalent from that date forward. So it never came to you folks for clarification, and I guess I've got it in front of you to look at, and maybe clarify.
When I look at the table on page 13, it's pretty much as you've said before, you know, when you're working on your 5th year, you're eligible. You know, when you're working on your 12th year, you're eligible, so I think we need to change it, make it a little clearer.
Am I just looking at it wrong? Is it clear as glass to you?
For me, it seems, you know, years 0 through just shy of 5, you're earning vacation at that rate per week.
Okay.
Once you eclipse 5, then you now earn vacation time at a
And
greater
that's,
rate.
and that's the way it's been interpreted.
That's,
in the
that's
past
the way
by
I read
staff.
it.
Okay.
Why would you, you know, that says less than 5, 0 to less than 5, and then 5 plus. So I mean, that's how I read it.
Okay.
So as soon as you turn your 5th year,
Now you're
You-
eligible for the additional.
you
Right.
start earning them,
At the
Other
15
days.
day.
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Do the plus and minuses have to be in there? Cause I think that's
I think it's
confusing. If it
That's-
was 0 to 5,
Yeah.
bang,
Hmm.
it's pretty clear. But it doesn't go all the way down through. If you look at that, you have plus and minus 0 to 5 and then 5 to 12. Below that, you don't have anything.
5 to 12 you do, but I'm 12 to 20.
12 to 20 you don't, you got 20
Yeah.
plus.
Right.
What about 30?
So the day that
Does
you
the-
turn
It
12
affects
years,
2 of my folks
you start
now.
earning your extra.
At the 20-day standard. Is that how you guys look at it?
That's how I look
Well, you know, you're our resident attorney.
at it. Don't take that being anything.
Hey, you know, when I first was asked about it, I looked at it differently than what Tom's describing, because I saw and I thought maybe you were working towards it, but after I've looked at it several times, I can see how some of the staff thought you don't earn it until you get to that 5th
Right.
year.
I mean, obviously, we can clean it up a little bit, but, I
Yeah,
mean, we
I
all
think we can
interpret
clean
it
it
the
up,
same
but-
way.
But right now, I really wanted to avoid the grievance, because, I mean, I had some people that are very passionate about this, and I said, look, let me talk to the board and see if what I'm hearing from you tonight is the way it's always been, and I think that's the way we'll administer it.
Well, I can't say if it's always been that way, I can just say on how I interpret what I see here.
Well, it has been that way, that's the way it's been interpreted.
Past practices alone, it's always been, you had to work up to that point in time and then you changed.
Yeah.
The accumulation rate changed.
Okay.
But it could still say 0 to anything less than 5,
Right,
because you could quit at any time between 0 to 3 years, 4 years, you're only learning at
right,
that pace. And then once you eclipse 5, then
you go at the bigger pace,
Right.
wiser.
Right.
Okay. I got you.
If somebody works 6 years and they quit, they can only draw what they earned in that 6th year,
Right.
not the full.
Right, well, there are abilities for accumulated vacation time too, and that goes a little bit further down, you can see how much they could, maximum in their hours. So they couldn't, if they were here year 6, that mean they could have 15 days, so if they were working beyond 15 days and were working for more time, they had maybe kept a week's vacation in the previous year, they could only accumulate up to 15, they would lose a week, so.
You're gonna review that at some point in time, you might wanna look at the accumulated thing, because this is the problem for us every spring. We've got guys, Terry's one, I have in the past. You reach your maximum allowed hours, and just because you didn't take a day here, a day there, to drop your time down, you're donating time.
Thank you.
And for us, in the wintertime, there's no one that takes vacations in the wintertime because
Right, you-
we're
you're too
short-staffed.
busy, right.
Yeah.
So from mid-November until mid-April, nobody takes any vacations. You don't wanna look at anything, maybe the accumulation rate, so. I know it was a problem in the past,
I'm as guilty as the next guy. I'd have
Yeah,
250 hours on the books and still
I
going.
I certainly wanna cap it, Roger, I can look at that, but I
What's
think
your
it needs to be
suggestion,
capped.
Roger? Did it get capped?
Well, it is capped,
Right.
and, but at certain times, in the spring, by the 1st of May, when we're starting to really gear up to do any road work, we shot crew again, because guys have gotta take time off, and they're losing time. I've been told that you're not really losing it, you're just not gaining any time. Well, guess what? If you ain't making time, you're losing it. So, I don't know if there's any way you could do something with the cap. It's a problem for us.
Okay, I'll certainly take a look at it, see what else, but I don't wanna get to a point, I understand his concerns, and that usually happens with people that have been here many, many years, and they get up to that, you know, they've got 25 days on the books, and they can't take 25 days unless we tell them to.
You can't get anything done.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Okay, well, I think you've given me my answer to the, equivalent year's work situation, thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is an application for a catering permit for Pirates Patio and Galley.
Yes, they filled out a catering permit, that will require, if approved, will require signatures from you folks.
Hemlock Grove.
Yeah, Hemlock Grove, I guess they're gonna have a private wedding reception inside the pavilion. Guess they have a building set up for it.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
That's a one-time for a wedding.
Yes.
I'd move to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Further discussion? All those in favor? Next item on the agenda is setting the tax rate.
Yes, I provided you, information from the, assessor today relative to, various options that would be available. What I did is I also provided you her background information on each one, as she filled out each form based on each criteria, so, according to her, based on what we've approved for, spending and what is available through, property to be taxed, or personal property and land and buildings to be taxed, our minimum tax rate would be $15.91, with an overlay of $1,722.78. And then it goes up from $15.91, and then she gave us the $15.92, $15.93, $15.95, and then the maximum overlay, which would, maximum rate, which would be $16.70 with a huge overlay. As I reviewed the documents today, you can notice that, we had, taxable, real estate went up $16,520,000, this past year. 14 million of that, almost 14,500,000 was the parental cottages. So a substantial, impact to our taxes, from the cottages this past year. Other than that, it wouldn't have gone up that substantial, but I think that we're gonna continue to see that kind of growth over the next several years.
You should, yeah.
As that builds out. So when I looked at the maximums and the minimum rates, it was my thought and recommendation to recommend to you $15.92, which would give us an overlay of $6,085.59. Oftentimes, I think that sort of balances out, gives us an even number. And then through our discussions this year, when we were looking at spending, I think we had come up with 39 cents that we thought the rate was gonna go up. So we're at 42, so I thought we did pretty good guessing back then, and now with the value that we have, it's gonna be 42, so, that would be my recommendation, to go 15.92, for the upcoming fiscal year.
What did we use for an overlay last year?
It was about $4,500, ended up being, I didn't bring that paperwork with me, but I recall it was either $4,500 or $4,800.
How come your personal property tax is so far down? Any explanation for that?
The personal property, has changed a little bit in terms of, how it's, the new law came out, and how some of it is now taken off the personal property.
Oh, that's when I went, okay.
Yeah, so there's been a change there, and then,
Reimbursements or something?
yeah, and then the other thing we have to do is, one of the things that Phil talked about before is really make a concerted effort to make sure that we're getting the proper personal property tax identified, and that folks are giving us that information appropriately, and then when we see, those businesses that may be there that we didn't know existed, that we get them information and, they provide that information to us, so. I'd love to see the personal property more like, the state of New Hampshire, where they set the percentage amount, based on it, and that would be the end of it, so. But we don't have that.
No.
Based on what,
They base it on a tax.
Evaluation.
Yeah, evaluation, and they just, send you pay your bill.
okay, looking for a motion on the tax rate, with the board's pleasure.
$15.92, Keith's comfortable with it. What's the 95% certified ratio, what is that?
That's where our ratio is right now on value of property, so if you have a house that's valued at $100,000, we have it ratioed at 95,000. We think, talking to the assessor today, we think that that's gonna go down drastically over the next fiscal year. And so when we're looking at that certified ratio next year, it may be lower. I wanna keep a handle on that, because I see it trending down because of what's happening in the building. Not that it's gonna stay that way, but we may have to discuss how we're going to accommodate a modification of that, whether through a statistical update, or if it gets too low, through a revaluation, which I really would like to avoid, if at all possible, because I think through a statistical update, looking at various neighborhood factors, we'll be able to adjust it so we stay within that healthy ratio for us. It'll take some more research to make sure we can do that.
Okay, so we have a motion, to set it at $15.92, did we get a second?
No, I'll second.
Yeah, okay, we have a motion and a second, to set the tax rate at $15.92 with an overlay of $6,085.59. Do I hear any other discussion? All those in favor? None opposed, motion carries. Okay. Accounts payable. All those in favor? Alright, so I'm looking for a motion to go into executive session, 4056E, discussion with the town attorney on various legal matters.
I'll make that motion at,
Motion at 8:10 PM, I hear a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Bye, Emily.
See ya.